So this week, Splatoon 2 reviews were finally being released. Now, what do I think of the game after seeing all the reviews go up? Now, disclosure, this is not a full review of the game because granted, I have not had a chance to play the game. I didn't get a review copy or anything like that. I want you to be very clear of that just because this does kind of sound like a review of the game even though I haven't really had a chance to play the full version of the game. I, of course, have played the Splatfest that was last Saturday, and I have actually played the other demo of Splatoon 2. But outside of that, I have not played the full retail version of the game. But when I saw the reviews go up for Splatoon 2, I was pretty much not surprised at all. People were giving it like 8s and 8.5s, some 9s, but mostly around 8, 8.5 to 9. I'm not surprised. Why? Because it's pretty much the same thing as Splatoon 1. You can kind of call this a 1.5. Now, if you've been on my channel a while, you know I'm always bashing Splatoon just because Splatoon 2 is like a 1.5 to me. Granted, I did play the first one, so that's why I'm a little bit biased when it comes to saying that Splatoon 2 is more of a 1.5 than a true sequel, but I just wanted to talk about it. Overall, I think the game's great, and I have played the Splatfest, and I have played the other one, and for the most part, it's pretty much the same thing you played with Splatoon 1. Also, if you're wondering if I'm going to be picking up the game on day one, I might be picking it up on day one. Yes, you heard me right. I know you guys know that I keep bashing this game and keep calling it 1.5. I'm not too excited about it, but since I do cover Nintendo games and Nintendo stuff on my channel, this would be a good idea to pick this up. That I can talk about the game, I can review the game, I can also talk about all the updates. Actually, speaking of the reviews going up right now, if you're not aware as well, no one really gets to play the final version of the game. What am I talking about? Well, yes, they did get the full retail version of the game, but the final game will actually be out a year from now. Why do I say Splatoon 2's final version will be out a year from now? If you're not aware, just like Splatoon 1, Splatoon 2 is going to have updates, and throughout the year, or a year and a half from now, or 2 years from now, that's when all the updates will be rolled out. We'll get new maps, maybe a new game mode, new equipment, new weapons, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of updates to the game that's not currently in the full retail version of the game. So yes, you can say they're playing the final version. So you're basically playing the full version because everything's there, the mechanics, everything's there, the online's there, everything's there. But technically, you're not playing the full thing just because in a year or two from now, then the game's definitely going to get better and more things are coming to Splatoon 2. So, yes, you would really, if you want to know how good Splatoon 2 is, you would have to wait a year to 2 years down the road to see if the updates make the games better. Coming from a guy that played Splatoon 1, I've already easily put in over 300 hours into Splatoon 1. That shows you how much I love the game. But speaking of Splatoon 2, actually, overall, I'm kind of disappointed that I'm looking at these reviews and people are saying that there's not much content different. Yes, we do have Salmon Run, but the problem with Salmon Run, if you're not already aware of, Salmon Run only is available at certain hours of the day. So that's kind of honestly, I don't really want to hate on Nintendo because, you know, I do love Nintendo, but honestly, I think that was such a stupid idea. I don't know who at the office said, let's lock this mode out every once in a while so people can't play it. And especially for people who are coming from Splatoon 1, there's not really much incentive to even get this game or even play this game because they've already played all this. And also, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure all the competitive modes or the objective modes are all the same from Splatoon 1. We got Rainmaker, Tower Defense, and Splat Zones back. I didn't see anything new. That's kind of a shame we didn't get anything new because I've already played those modes in Splatoon 1. Sure, you're playing with, I think, some new guns and some new specials, but outside of that, it's pretty much the same thing for objective. And then we got Turf War, and a lot of people are complaining right now. I've seen some reviews go up complaining about how that the campaign is a little bit different than 1's, but pretty much the same thing as Splatoon 1's campaign, so you're not going to get anything new if you played the first one. Now, I've never touched the Splatoon 1's campaign, so if I do end up getting Splatoon 2, this would be a good time for me to jump into Splatoon 2's campaign because I never touched the first one in my life. I don't know if I would ever want to touch Splatoon's campaign, whether it be the first one or the second one, just because, well, it looks kind of dry, it looks kind of boring. One thing about Splatoon I've never liked, even when the final update rolled out for Splatoon 1, the one thing I never liked about it was the fact that it never had a lot of content if you compare it to other shooters on the market. For example, even Gears of War, maybe Uncharted 4's multiplayer, or some other Uncharted's, Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield. You get the drift here. When you play those games, you get a buttload of game modes to play, but in Splatoon you don't get a lot, even in the final version of Splatoon 1. At this rate for Splatoon 2, it's looking like the same scenario. I'm not saying the game's bad. What we have there is a good, solid multiplayer online shooting game from Nintendo. I just wish there was a little bit more that they would offer us if you compare it to the competition. If you compare all the other shooting games and things like that on the market to Splatoon, then for $60, then you're not getting a lot of content. One thing they could have done, just throwing out some stuff there, one thing they could have done was maybe made a free-for-all mode where maybe you play up to 3 other people, so it's 4 people on the same map, and then you have your own ink, and maybe you have to remove your specials, just because we all know some specials are going to be overpowered. To remove that, then you have a fun free-for-all mode, which would be really fun instead of always the team-based way Splatoon was. Or what I'm thinking they should have done was maybe made some maps made for vehicles. Vehicles would actually be really cool in Splatoon. Just think about it. We would have like a tank that rolls around and it shoots like splat bombs, or we have like a helicopter going around. It shoots like ink from like a turret. How come turrets aren't in Splatoon? Turrets would be really cool in Splatoon. You can have turrets and you can shoot ink like brrrr. That'd be really cool. Or like one of the specials I'm thinking would have been cool was make it like Call of Duty, where we have one helicopter and airplane that drives by and actually drops a whole bunch of bombs and the ink splat everyone. That would be epic. Overall, I think it's a solid game. I don't want you guys, again, thinking that I am dissing the game, talking bad about it. It's just because, unfortunately, you're coming from a person that played the hell out of Splatoon 1. I played it over 300 hours, so that tells you how many hours I've already put in the first Splatoon game, so I'm no stranger to Splatoon. But overall, I gotta say, it's maybe worth $60. If there's another way that you can get it a little bit cheaper, or if you know somebody like your parents, if you're still living at home with your parents or something, and you can pick it up and your parents are gonna buy it for you, then it's probably worth picking up for. But for Splatoon 1 fans, it really does feel kind of disappointing. But then again, don't fix what ain't broken, because Splatoon 1 was never a game. The mechanics were never broken. It was a fun game. I just wish they would have went the extra step to add a little bit something, a little bit more above already what Splatoon 1 has. But then again, like I said, don't fix what ain't broken. But they should have just added a little bit other mechanics to the game that would have made it feel like a true sequel in my eyes. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be picking this game up on day 1. I'm going to have to see if I want to pick it up. I may end up picking it up on day 1. I'm not sure. Then I can do some content on my channel for Splatoon, since I didn't actually end up picking up ARMS, so that's why I do not have any reviews on ARMS, or I don't talk about ARMS on my channel, or I don't talk about the updates, because, well, I never picked up ARMS. So now would be a good time for me to pick up another AAA multiplayer game from Nintendo, which is Splatoon 2. Of course, if I got Splatoon 2, I wouldn't really feel mad about it being like 1.5 to 2. I would have Salmon Run to play. I would also have some of the new weapons, the new specials, and I can play it in handheld mode. And of course, the resolution is going to be a little bit better than Splatoon 1. Overall, I think it would be okay. I'm still like on the fence about it, to be honest, because, well, I don't know, just $60 seems a lot. I know they're not giving out discounts for people who bought Splatoon 1. It would seem like a good idea, because it is kind of, I say kind of loosely, because it is kind of a 1.5, if you know where I'm coming from. But then again, I understand why Nintendo's not doing it. But anyway, that would have been really cool if it was like $40 or $45 for people who never who already have Splatoon 1. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Splatoon 2, since the reviews are finally out to the public and everyone's been reviewing it, and the scores are, yeah, like I said again, pretty much what I expected. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.